Welcome to the Ditch the Diet Crash Course. In this quick 10-minute video, I'm going to be explaining why traditional diets just don't work and instead show you a strategy for weight loss that doesn't require miserable diets anymore. So the three keys to losing weight are strategy, mindset, and accountability. And you have to have all three of these in play at the same time in order to get the results that you're looking for. So let's break down each of those a little bit more. So the first area is strategy. And so strategy refers to knowing exactly what you need to do, exactly what's going to get you the results that you're looking for, and what's going to stick for the long run. So this is like knowing the playbook, knowing the game plan, so to speak. But the problem is there is so much information out there, so many meal plans, diets, people just telling you what they think you should do, that it can get really overwhelming, really frustrating, and really exhausting to figure out what's the best strategy for you. And we all know two people can follow the exact same plan and have very different outcomes. One maybe can lose 50 pounds and the other loses 5 doing the exact same thing. And so, for that reason, we know that the strategy has to be customized to you in order to be effective. Now, mindset is the second area, and so mindset can be really overlooked, but it's important if we're looking for sustainable weight loss. It's important for us to be thinking of long term lifestyle change rather than a quick fix diet to lose 30 pounds in a month. And then the last area is accountability. And accountability is really the thread that ties everything together in order to actually stick with your plan and get the results and get you to the finish line. So now I'm going to walk through a couple of examples of different diets and where they fall short in these three different areas. So the first example is keto. And so with keto, we have the strategy of cutting out carbs, typically to about 5 to 10% of your total diet, and instead eating a really high fat, high protein diet. And so with this, we're already thinking short term rather than long term because most people are not able to cut out carbs for the long run. And then typically there's not accountability that comes with this plan. Next is Weight Watchers. And so Weight Watchers has a strategy of counting foods as different points that you have a limit on for the day. And then there's also some group activity and some weekly meetings that you can show up for. But again, we don't have the best mindset because we're thinking in terms of numbers rather than overall healthy choices. And typically, this is not a long lasting approach either. No one wants to be counting points for the rest of their life. And typically, there is accountability, but there are some limits on that accountability and maybe some issues of comfort when it comes to things like public weighing and group meetings. So then when we have strategy, it's really important to recognize that a lot of the diets that do have these strategies laid out for you are very generic and set in stone. And so instead, we want to focus on a strategy that is tailored to your preferences, your likes and your dislikes. Do you like turkey or do you not like turkey? Do you like bell peppers or not like bell peppers? What's your family situation? Is it cooking for just yourself or cooking for a family of 6? What about your schedule, your budget? What restrictions or limitations do you have there? And then what about your lifestyle? Do you like to go out to eat with friends? Do you like to socially drink? How is that going to be incorporated into all of this? So the typical trajectory that we see with diets goes a little something like this. You have some initial weight loss, you get some momentum going, but then typically you hit a bump in the road. There's some kind of plateau where you throw in the towel or just really hit a stopping point, and then maybe you start thinking, well, maybe I need a different diet, maybe I need to try something else, and then it just kind of goes in this vicious cycle. So instead, the trajectory that we want to see is that initial weight loss, but then that just continues into an overall healthy lifestyle, and we don't go through this vicious cycle anymore. So, another way to look at and break down the different strategies is using this grid here. We have fast and slow, and we have simple and complex in terms of different types of strategies. So, for example, a strategy that would be slow and complex would just be the strategy of trial and error. So, really just trying to figure this out on your own. Go into Google, reading different articles and blogs, and looking at different Instagram influencers and seeing what you can find, and just kind of dabbling on your own and trying lots of different things. So, that's really complicated and honestly fairly slow in terms of the time it takes you to just try to sift through all of this information. Now, an example of a strategy that is fast and complex would be something like Whole30. So Whole30 is complex in the sense that there's a lot of different regulations and rules about what is Whole30 compliant and what's not. What's allowed? Are these beans allowed? Is this type of nut butter allowed? And it gets into the nitty-gritty of all these different lists that are approved or not approved. And I would say it's also a fast plan because it's only 30 days and people do tend to get results fairly quickly. But again, very complicated and tedious and restrictive. Now, we could also have a strategy that's simple and slow, but I don't think anyone really wants to be in the slow category at all, so we want to stay away from that range. And instead, we want to focus on a strategy that is simple and fast, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So my strategy and my approach with my clients is broken down in this pyramid, and we start from the bottom and work our way up. But the problem is a lot of people flip this script and they invert the pyramid and actually start at the top instead of working their way up and addressing the foundations at the bottom. So, for example, people will start with the supplement area, and they'll start with things like Isagenix, Optavia, or Advocare for their weight loss. Or maybe they do something like intermittent fasting, and so they're playing around with the timing of their eating, again, without addressing all of these other core foundational areas. So you're going at it in a complete backwards and opposite way. So the approach that I take with my weight loss is that we start from the ground up and we really address, again, keeping things simple, addressing things at the most foundational level, like are you getting enough sleep, are you drinking enough water, and where is your mindset at when it comes to overall lifestyle change. And then from there, once we master those different levels, we work our way up one at a time. Nothing overwhelming, nothing crazy. So how does this actually break down? So with my clients, there's a lot of different facets in how we actually approach each of these different levels. So for the foundational level of really lifestyle and mindset, that's approached through our accountability. We have daily accountability and also one-on-one coaching with a dietitian. And then we move up the ladder from there to the energy balance and macronutrients. And that's where we get into our customized meal plans, which really take the guesswork out of what you need to be eating. And so with that, we already incorporate your specific protein, fat, and carb breakdown, how many calories you need, and integrate that all into a meal plan that incorporates your favorite foods, adapts to your schedule and lifestyle, and really is, again, tailored to you specifically. And then once we master that, we move up to the next rung of the ladder, and that's when we're able to pull in advanced lab testing. And this is where we start to look at things at a more core cellular level. Things like your micronutrient status, your hormone and thyroid levels, your food sensitivities. This is where we start to dig in deep to really what your body needs or is missing. And from there, we might incorporate that in the form of supplements. We may take those results and incorporate that into your meal plan and just start working on some more advanced level strategies. And then we can, for example, get into things like fasting and timing around food, timing around your workouts. But again, a lot of people are really just on this on and off again diet cycle. It almost can feel like a roller coaster of starting something and then falling off the wagon, as they say, and then trying something new and then falling off track and maybe going through some binge, cycles for a couple weeks and then getting back up again. And it's just this really exhausting place to be. So what would it mean for you if you can get off the diet binge cycle and lose weight once and for all in a simple and predictable way? So just to recap, those 3 core areas that you need in order to do that are strategy, mindset, and accountability. And strategy and my approach is a customized, tailored look at what you need for you and your lifestyle. And then for mindset, we move away from that diet mentality into an overall healthy lifestyle change. And then with accountability, we stick with this and stick with you for the long term. I work with my clients anywhere from 3 to 6 months to make sure that we see them through on all of their goals. So if you feel like you are stuck on that roller coaster, if you are struggling to get out of these diets, to lose the weight once and for all, and to do this in a realistic and sustainable way, that is where I come in, and that is what I love to do with my clients. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So all you have to do is sign up for a quick 10-15 minute call, no strings attached, no fees, nothing like that. This is just an opportunity for me to get to know you a little bit better, talk about what you're struggling with, talk about your goals, and really see if and how I can help you with that and see if it's a good fit to work together. So go ahead, schedule that call, and I look forward to talking to you soon.